Hey guys, welcome back to some more Raid Shadow Legends. As you can see, we're here with the Alice Chase. We are almost completed within the time frame. We are going to be able to get this, getting all of the souls that we need to actually get this hero built up. The split souls all the way to 5. I feel like we can max this out in the entirety. But in today's video, I want to look through and go through what a lot of players have been talking about when it comes to the event that is going on with the after party. So you can see right here, we have 111 party coins that we have earned. We've actually completed a couple quests in here, getting a little bit of rewards, but thinking of we're a day in. So right now, remember, this was up for 4 days. We are roughly a day in, and I want to kind of mathematically kind of map this out. I want to grab my calculator, slide it over here, and kind of show you where we're at right now. Because looking at this very, very top piece that we see, we got, and we used, I think it was 300 in here. So we used 300 of our coins in here. This one, I believe, was, I believe this one was 500. I believe, no, this one was 1,000. I think this second one was another 1,000 in there. So even thinking of adding in our other 1,000, and then I believe this one was 1,250, which is the route that we went. So plus another 1,250. Which gives us 2,550. Now, this is from the regular grind. We have been grinding out 12-3 on a regular basis. We're really working on getting our third level 60 champion within here. And I really didn't understand the depth of this and how much, with all of the events and all of the things that we're doing within Raid, how people can put so much money in this game, but also the difficulty of getting to this higher and really these bottom paths. So thinking about regular gameplay, looking at, we do have, I believe, 1 void shard. We have a couple ancient shards. We do have 1 sacred shard. But again, thinking of the points here, you're talking 45, let's say 52, maybe 62, let's say even 7,000. Through the regular rank upgrades, they do take a considerable amount of time, but getting some points. So even if we're thinking 7,000 points right here, we have 2, we have 3, then we have the key. So 4 plus the 500, getting down to this bottom level through regular gameplay with what we have achieved in the last 24 hours of gameplay. We might get to this level, or possibly even maybe one of these pieces down here, like getting some immortal soul essence. But overall, it seems like it is going to be near impossible to get to any of these very bottom tier rewards because they are so expensive within this path. And I know a lot of players have said, looking at the perfect soul, it's absolutely insane when, again, mathematically, you kind of go through and see how much you have to do and how much you have to do in here. And also a lot of players that went in and actually got Lord Fabian, spent a lot of resources to get them. I know some were lucky, some spent an incredible amount of resources. A lot of players also spent a ton of resources when it comes to doing the fusion of when they did the fusion of the champion itself. So getting the champion that way through the fusion, again, a lot of resources, a lot of time building. And overall, the events are very, very expensive. So looking at our summoning boost right now, up to a 25x chance, since we're sitting on some ancient shards, some void shards, some sacred shards, you can see 15, 20, 25. Since I am nowhere near getting this up to the summoning chance, just because we're very limited, I'm going to wait. And again, a lot of players say, do not do any of the events. Do not do any of the summon events. The progression chance, don't do them. And again, if I'm completely off kilter, let me know down below. But players have said to wait until these have the boosted rewards versus getting the summons. This really relies on a crazy amount or a multitude of summons. When you're in here breaking open these shards, it is going to take a long time to get there. Now, of course, there is the boost, but it is only on specific champions that we have in here. So you don't have the ability to get other ones. You can see summoning them by 15x, 20 or 25 requires a lot of shards out of here. So again, thinking regular gameplay over the last couple days, honestly, probably maybe even the last week since we've been kind of making progression. Ancient shards, we only have a couple. Now, granted, I am relatively early. We're about 22 days into Raid. But again, a lot of players were saying, don't go in here, don't do the progression chance. But the question that I had and that I don't know the answer to is, are we going to have another 2x summoning event before this aftermath party? Is it going to be worth it to go in here, do the summons if we have that 2x event, to go ahead, break open all of those shards? And it's really, in my opinion, a numbers game. When we start looking at getting additional champions, when we start looking at busting open and opening, utilizing those shards itself, getting to the mercy timer or the pity timer is going to be important. Now, of course, Dungeon Divers comes up in 7 hours. We just completed Dungeon Divers just literally a couple days ago, I believe 2 days ago. Gear Enhancement is up, Aftermath Party, and then we have the tournaments. These kind of stack or overlap on what we have. Fire Night is going on right here, as well as the Classic Arena. I'm going to have to do this, starts in 9 hours. The Classic Arena, we farm this out all the time. Getting additional rewards out of here. Absolutely. Now, Ice Golem and the Sand Devil, both of those as a new player, incredibly difficult to get through the content. So I just went ahead and opted out of doing those because we are still trying to get these champions up to the level 60. And I feel like that is going to be the biggest thing. So getting all of the tokens in here are just coming from building out champions, farming up champions. That is the only way that I'm going to build them in their entirety, is getting them through regular gameplay, farming that out. Now, when we look at the tavern and we start looking at the upgradable champions, again, we have farmed a significant amount of rares. You can see we have quite a few levels on here, even have a few uncommons in here that we can build. Now we're focusing on farming out and getting all of the ones in the Guardian Ring. They are at level 22, and all of these are my 4 stars. Now, this, of course, is a playbook that a lot of people might not know about or didn't hear about, but getting and putting the 40s in here, you can see we have 1 hour on every single one of these. I don't have to come in a multitude of times. I don't have to keep doing this over and over and over. Once we do get to the point of having all of these 40s at the max level, so 4-star 40s all at the max level, as long as I have those level 1 4 stars, so essentially 1s to 2s to 3s, getting them to 4 stars, we are parking them at level 1 4 stars because these in their entirety are going to be the feeders that we're using to get those 6-star champions. Now, if you do this on a regular basis, every single week, mathematically, they kind of broke it out and said, you can get and build 1 6-star champion every single week through this process. And it does take about a week to get them built up because I believe last time I did this, it was a multitude of hours. Now, this for me works systematically and works incredibly, incredibly well. The reason being, once I go in here and I refresh this, then I'm going to go to bed. It's actually late here, about 10, 11 o'clock. But once I do go to bed, I'm going to wake up in the morning. All of these will have another level gained, and I'm going to have very, very minimal to no downtime on building out these levels and getting these champions leveled up faster because of, again, doing this. I don't have a champion, that's going to be done in an hour. Then I'm going to go to sleep for 6-8 hours, and then I'm going to lose essentially that 8-hour window of experience. I am making sure systematically that we are getting these done one by one, and we have the cooldown timer that is going down while we are sleeping. That way, again, we can maximize the XP in here and building out the Guardian Ring. Now, a lot of players also say within that Guardian Ring, do not build it up any further. Now, I did this backwards, and I want to point this out because when I first got into Raid, I built out the mine. This should not have been the first one at all. It should have actually been going into our champions and maxing out and building out our masteries for at least 2 champions first. Then going into the Guardian Ring, which I know a lot of people do not choose, and a lot of people do not build this out at all. But going in the Guardian Ring, starting this with the sparring pit to build that out, and then building out the gem mine. For me personally, I built out the gem mine first because, of course, looking at your return, the investment to the return, there's going to be a break-even point with the amount of gems that we put into the mine itself. That way we can start getting them out and staying net positive. And for all the future, months and years, if we're playing Raid, we will be net positive and we will just continue building out and getting resources every single day from the mine. Now, as a free-to-play player, you have to make sure that you use your resources the absolute best method that you can. I've been farming out some of the souls. We got some more awakened souls in here. Have to get and add a couple more of my ascended stars in here. And then, of course, we've been just very, very closely watching this. Now, even though we don't have a lot of the souls in here, we don't have a lot of the champions, trying to figure out the ones that I have. So I know some players were saying, keep an eye on what we see in here for the simple fact that there are some really high utility champions that even if I don't have the champion right now, I could have the champion in the future. So building out or buying the perfect souls when they are available will essentially get me ready for when I do need them, that I already have the champions available, that we already do have them built out. Right now, I'm just saving to see exactly what we get So collections again, we're saving all of these. We have a couple fives, we have a couple threes. I'm really building these out, and I feel like we're getting to the point where you can see the different coins based on where the levels are of what we got. So even here, the 5-star is actually yielding up some of the Eternal Soul coins, which makes a big difference when you're building them out or when you're doing the summons, because this gives us a 5 or a 6. This is a 3 or 6, a 1 or 6. So if you have some really, really good RNG in here, haven't really played around a lot with the Ultra of Souls because we're not at the point where we're farming. We are still focused in its entirety in getting those champions and building up the champions up to the 6-star. Once I feel like I have probably 4 6-stars, even 3 to 5 6-stars is where they say you kind of get out of very early game, start getting into mid game. We're already on level 44, starting to unlock a lot more parts that we see within raid. And I want to get to the other pieces in here. I know the Cursed City and the Siege player set are absolutely a ton of fun to go ahead and make progression and play in. Got to get to 45 to get into the Siege, see what that is all about. And I cannot wait to systematically start just grinding out the content that we do have. So, all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.